Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Today, I will conclude a look at Rolling Stone's top 100 sitcoms of all time. We're up to number 10 here. If you've missed the 4 previous episodes, you might want to go back and check them out. At number 10, Rolling Stone has The Larry Sanders Show. Great pick. As somebody who has worked in the entertainment-ish industry, I have always felt that this was dead on. Rolling Stone writes, Gary Shandling had done dozens of guest host spots for Johnny Carson over the years and was on a short list of people who could potentially take over The Tonight Show when Johnny retired. So who better to turn out a workplace comedy about a narcissistic, neurotic talk show host that doubled as cringe comedy satire of the format, complete with celebrities playing obnoxious versions of themselves. David Letterman once told Shandling, this show is like every day of my life. Larry Sanders is on HBO Max. Do yourself a favor and watch that. Number 9, Parks and Rec. Are you kidding me? Originally born from NBC's desire for an Office spinoff, Parks almost immediately became something different and better. In the first few episodes, Amy Poehler's civil servant Leslie Knope seemed like a naive cousin in Michael Scott, but Parks creators quickly realized the other characters should react to Leslie's boundless enthusiasm with awe instead of irritation, and that made all the difference. I don't see how, I can't possibly imagine why Parks and Rec is in the top 10. Rolling Stone might be on crack. I have no proof, but it's possible. Number 8, The Honeymooners. There are a lot of lists that would have The Honeymooners at number 1, The Honeymooners at number 8. Okay, number 7, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, one of the great sitcoms of all time. What a great ensemble cast. Ed Asner, Ted Knight, Valerie Harper, Gavin MacLeod, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's on Hulu. You should watch it. It takes a few episodes to find its footing, but definitely check out Mary Tyler Moore. Number 6, one of my favorites of all time. Again, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, this was being rerun all the time, and you saw every episode, even though there were 200 of them. MASH ran from 1972 to 1983. Then at some point when you were a kid, you found out there was a movie. I'm one of the people that likes the first 3 seasons with Colonel Blake and Trapper John a little better than the last 8, but I love the whole thing. The show evolves over time and gets a little more serious towards the end, but MASH is wonderful. I've actually been doing a MASH rewatch. It's on Hulu, and at the rate I watch television, it's probably going to take me 20 years to get all the way through MASH. All right, number 5 is All in the Family, ran on CBS from 71 to 79, so we are not including the sort of companion show Archie Bunker's Place, which was basically All in the Family without everybody except Archie. I'm personally surprised this didn't come back in some form during the Trump years. Blue-collar main character Archie Bunker was a reactionary, racist, sexist, homophobe who was forever getting into arguments with his wife Edith, his daughter Gloria, and his liberal son-in-law, Michael Meathead Stivic, played by Rob Reiner. Brits know it's actually an adaptation of the British series Till Death Do Us Part. Plenty of conservatives, including President Nixon, thought Archie was the hero and Meathead the clown being lampooned. No, that's not what it was at all, everybody. You miswatched All in the Family. The show's blunt discussion of current events was revolutionary, but so was its crude humor. The studio audience went wild at the sound of Archie's toilet flushing. In time, it would pave the way for Tony Soprano and the modern age of anti-heroes. We've got 4 left after the break. Rolling Stone's top 100 sitcoms of all time. Number 4, I Love Lucy. Even without the white-hot comic genius of Lucille Ball as Lucy Ricardo, the energy of Desi Arnaz, Vivian Vance, and William Frawley as her sparring partners, and the ingenuity of iconic set pieces like Lucy and Ethel at the Chocolate Factory, I Love Lucy would be the most influential imitated show in the medium's history. As producers, Ball and Arnaz essentially invented the idea of filming a sitcom episode with multiple cameras in front of a live studio audience, a format still in use today. They insisted on recording episodes for posterity rather than broadcasting them live and forgetting about them. When you add in those innovations, just how funny the show can seem decades later, even if the gender politics of bumbling housewife Lucy constantly being bailed out of trouble by paternalistic band leader Ricky haven't aged well, few comedies can match it. Number 3, Seinfeld. Yada yada, master of your domain, sponge-worthy, double-dipping, no soup for you. The catchphrases of Seinfeld have so wormed their way into everyday use, they've all but consumed the legacy of the rest of the series. Perhaps this is because one of those phrases, a show about nothing, is from the season 4 arc where Jerry and George pitch a familiar-sounding show within the show to NBC executives. It undersells exactly what Seinfeld did so brilliantly. Yes, co-creators Seinfeld and Larry David obsessed over ephemera, but they did it with the kind of comic precision the medium had never seen before. In particular, David's masterstroke was figuring out how to make each episode's plots collide with one another at the end. Seinfeld is the gift that keeps on re-gifting. 2 left. Number 2. Cheers, NBC, 1982 to 1993. A girl walks into a bar. Her fiancé strands her there, and she's condemned to spend her days enduring insults from the other waitress and shameless come-ons from the guy who runs the place. From that simple setup sprang the best live-action sitcom ever. In its early years, Cheers was alternately witty and raucous romantic comedy about the unresolved sexual tension between Sam and Diane. When Long left to pursue a movie career, oops, and Kirstie Alley arrived as hot mess Rebecca, Cheers nimbly pivoted into an ensemble comedy, understanding that a cast that included Kelsey Grammer, Woody Harrelson, Rhea Perlman, George Wendt, John Ratzenberger, and Bebe Neuwirth, yeah, that's one heck of a cast. It could make up in volume of punchlines which had been lost in that priceless long dance and chemistry. Decades later, you still want to go where everybody knows your name, and you'll always be glad you came. Number 1 is The Simpsons. Really? I'm so disappointed. I should have realized that we hadn't talked about The Simpsons since we even talked about Bob's Burgers. The Simpsons is number 1 sitcom of all time? No. I can't. Rolling Stone writes, what else could it be? Some comic book guy types would hold the animated comedy's 2nd, 3rd, and now 4th decades against it, but we're not having that. There's more good material in those later seasons than you'd think. Plus, those first 10 years cover so much ground in subject style and sheer density of humor. Everything after it could just be Frank Grimes listing his grievances against Homer, and it still wouldn't drag the series' batting average down. The Simpsons at number 1? Really? I don't know about that. And we didn't have Happy Days on this list. Bob's Burgers was on the list. Happy Days not on the list? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, damn, we did this for 5 days and we got to the end and it's The Simpsons? It was a holiday weekend. Did you have a nice weekend? I hope you did. Back to normal tomorrow. That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. The Simpsons, really? Might as well put Bob's Burgers first. See you tomorrow.